Web is made up of three programming languages, that is the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML defines the main content of the web. It marks up the web. It's the major backbone of the web that carries the main content or the main structure of the web. If you can recall from our previous lesson, that was what is HTML. You realize that we listed some of the roles of HTML, and the role number 2 stated that HTML provides access to inbuilt functionalities of a browser, and that's what I'm about to explain. Some of these functionalities include the print functionality, whereby you can just include the word print in a browser as a function, maybe within a button. Then the function itself will trigger a print event whereby the page will be converted to maybe a PDF. Another function is the find function, next and the previous, that is the history part. These are some of the inbuilt features of a browser that you can access through HTML. The next language is the CSS, that is the cascading style sheets. Cascading style sheets defines the styling of a site. CSS controls the physical layout of a site. It is used to define the styling of a site. The third language is the JavaScript. JavaScript provides interactivity. Maybe just to compare the three languages with the human, the HTML is just like the backbone of a human. The structure, the backbone. Then the CSS is like the flesh that gives the looks, yeah. Then the JavaScript gives it the functionality. That's just maybe if you compare the three languages used to build a web, and they both perform as one to achieve a particular goal. You might have been wondering why the three languages, why should they just come up with one language that is used to do everything? Well, web is different from any other. They are totally different from other softwares. You might create a web today and still expect it to run in the 10 years to come. Or you can just create a website that is used with a very, very old browser, but it still works. In addition to that, web also is required to be supported in multiple devices, such as the phone, the desktop, smartwatch, the televisions, etc. This makes it unique and a complex type of software. Have you ever wondered what happens if you write a wrong code? Maybe you forgot to place maybe a closing tag, or maybe you misspelled something in HTML. Have you ever wondered what could happen? Well, what HTML does is it checks on the code you've written and it tries to guess what maybe you are trying to mean, and it tries to fix that particular code for you, and therefore it will never raise any particular error, but instead it will just run even if the code is wrong. In the remaining two languages, that is the CSS and the JavaScript, they have a particular format that has to be followed. In the case of the CSS, when something is wrong or something is missing from the code, the browser will skip that particular styling or the section of that particular code and moves to the next line and executes. While for JavaScript, when a computer or a browser comes across a particular error, the browser gives up and does not execute that JavaScript. It just leaves it at that particular point and does not execute. That makes JavaScript very fragile, but also the most powerful of the three. Using the three languages, you are able and capable of building a powerful website. That's why if you need to build a website, it is highly recommended that at least you should have knowledge on how to program with these three languages. Have a great time. Let's